Yo, party people, January 6th, number 2. Okay, so we left off with Nehemiah. Those of you that have not seen the previous video, we've got another list of names. Ezra loves the lists. Ezra was a scribe. He wrote First and Second Chronicles. Those of you that have not seen those videos, we've already covered First and Second Chronicles in the book of Ezra that bears his name. But he also wrote or compiled. He didn't really write. I guess he wrote, but he compiled all of the documents to make First and Second Chronicles, Ezra, and the book of Nehemiah. And we're studying the book of Nehemiah currently. We're in chapter 12, and we're at verse 24. So this is where we're at on the timeline. Here is the Israel, the Jewish kingdom, and then here's where they fall to Babylon. So here is where the Persian kingdom comes into power, and Cyrus sends the first group of Jews back to Israel to rebuild the temple and the city of Jerusalem under Zerubbabel. And then the second group goes back under Ezra, and now we're studying Nehemiah. So each group had its own thing that they were doing. Nehemiah, his focus was to rebuild the wall. So they rebuilt the wall, and now this section we're going into is the dedication of the wall, right? So they've rebuilt it, they've repented, they've rededicated their lives to God, they've decided they're going to do everything they're supposed to be doing, giving their tithes and offerings and the first fruits, all of the feasts, all of the offerings. They're just rededicating their lives to God. And this was after like 3 weeks of reading the Torah that it sounds like many of them had not had an opportunity to even hear. So all of this has happened, and now we're going through another list that Ezra compiled showing the people that had come back and the people that were there. Remember in the last chapter they're trying to repopulate Jerusalem because it's so sparse and it's considered dangerous to live there. So they did like a drawing straws, right? They would draw names, and 1/10 of the people in the surrounding areas were required to come back in and live in Jerusalem with the nobles that were living there. And so now he's continuing a list of all the people that were still there, right? So now we've got, in verse 24, it says, "And the heads of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua, the son of Kadmiel, with their brothers across from them, to praise and give thanks, group alternating with group, according to the command of David, the man of God." So I mentioned in the end of last video that they're referring back to the way things were under David. Remember how beautiful he set up the temple singers, and he had created certain instruments for them, and it was just beautifully organized, right? So they're referring back to that. They're trying to recreate that. And it says, Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, and Akub were gatekeepers, keeping the watch at the storerooms of the gates. These lived in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priest, the scribe. So that's the end of the list. Now it says, Nehemiah dedicates the wall. Now at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought out the Levites in all their places to bring them to Jerusalem to celebrate the dedication with gladness, both with thanksgiving and singing, with cymbals and stringed instruments and harps. And the sons of the singers gathered together from the countryside around Jerusalem, from the villages of the Netophathites, from the house of Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba and Asmaveth. For the singers had built themselves villages all around Jerusalem. Then the priests and Levites purified themselves and purified the people, the gates, and the wall. Okay, so that's awesome. 31 says, "So I brought the leaders of Judah up on the wall and appointed 2 large thanksgiving choirs. One went to the right hand on the wall toward the refuse gate. After them went Hoshai and half of the leaders of Judah, and Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, Jeremiah, and some of the priests' sons with trumpets. Zechariah, the son of Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micaiah, the son of Zakur, the son of Asaph, and his brethren, Shemaiah, Azarel, Milhi, Gilalai, Maiah, Nethanel, Judah, and Hanani, with the musical instruments of David, the man of God. And Ezra the scribe went before them. By the fountain gate in front of them, they went up the stairs of the city of David on the stairway of the wall beyond the house of David, as far as the water gate eastward. The other thanksgiving choir went the opposite way, and I was behind them with half of the people on the wall, going past the tower of the ovens as far as the broad wall, and above the gate of Ephraim, above the old gate, above the fish gate, the tower of Hananel, the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate, and they stopped by the gate of the prison. So the 2 thanksgiving choirs stood in the house of God. Likewise I and the half of the rulers with me, and the priests Eliakim, Maaseiah, Benjamin, Micaiah, Elioenai, Zechariah, and Hananiah with trumpets. Also, Maaseiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzi, Jehohanan, Malchijah, Elam, and Ezer. The singers sang loudly with Jezrahiah, the director. So that's awesome. So you saw two Thanksgiving choirs. One went one way, one went the other way, and then they all met together. And so that was totally cool. And then it says, also that day they offered great sacrifices and rejoiced, for God had made them rejoice with great joy. The women and the children also rejoiced, that the joy of Jerusalem was heard afar off. So they mentioned in the commentary that these would have been peace offerings, so that because the whole community was involved, right? And then it says temple responsibilities. And at that same time, so this is verse 44, at that same time were appointed over the rooms of the storehouses for the offerings, the first fruits and the tithes, to gather into them from the fields of the cities the portions specified by the law for the priests and Levites. For Judah rejoiced over the priests and Levites who ministered. Both the singers and the gatekeepers kept the charge of their God and the charge of the purification according to the command of David and Solomon his son. For in the days of David and Asaph of old, there were chiefs of the singers and songs of praise and thanksgiving to God. So Asaph is being honored there. So if you go back to read the stories of David, Asaph is mentioned, and he's the one that creates all of the, David commands him to do, there's a command from the king to do these things, and Asaph is put in charge of the singers and creating all of that structure. In the days of Zerubbabel and in the days of Nehemiah, all Israel gave the portions for the singers and the gatekeepers, a portion for each day. They also consecrated the holy things for the Levites, and the Levites consecrated them for the children of Aaron. All right, so we finished chapter 12. So what you see, that's great. He built the wall. They dedicated the wall. They celebrated during the dedication. And so that's where we're at with Nehemiah. So things are moving forward, right? So that's all I had for you today. So tomorrow we are going to do 13, and I think that's the end of Nehemiah. Yes, it is the end. And then we'll start Esther, because that's following in the same time frame. And just remember, there's no way to the Father but Jesus Christ, right? All you have to do is say, Jesus, I give you my life. I don't understand everything. None of us do. I don't care how long you study the Bible. There's always something new to learn. There's always, new, there you can't, God is too big for us to understand completely. We've got a great roadmap, right? So use your Bible, read your Bible. It's absolutely imperative. You're not going to know God without reading your Bible. So all you have to do is say, Jesus, I give you my life. I don't understand everything, but please help me to understand. And he will meet with you. I mean, but you just have to ask, and you're in. You don't have to worry about going to hell or any of that stuff. Heaven is real. God is real. The devil is real. Angels are real. All of that is real. We're only here for a moment. So just recognize that. So that's all. Have a great day. Happy Saturday. I will see you tomorrow. Read your Bible. Jesus is coming. Peace.